We have a lovely blend today in the form of the Geisha Blossom from TWGT. Green tea mixed with what they call southern fruits on the label, but the notes are mainly peach and floral. It's great for a midday pick-me-up with just enough caffeine in the green tea to finish the back half of the day. The loose leaf variety of this tea asks for 3 minutes of steeping time, so that's what we're going to do. By the way, I started Invisalign, so bear with me if you can hear it. What's the first thing you think of when Pixel smartphones are in the mix? The cameras, of course. The thing is, Google is trying to bring another thought back with their latest Pixels in the form of 2 sets of 2 letters, AI and XL. So let's dive into what those can mean as I take the bigger Pro model out for a spin. Hey, it's Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? Here is a real-world camera test using the Pixel 9 Pro XL. As per usual, my camera tests are more like vlogs, where I use the phone as my main way of capturing some memories during some real-life scenarios. During my time testing the cameras on this phone, I have taken it to the LA Arboretum for a nice stroll, also as a way to try out some new POV-style shots that you might have already seen on my social media posts. And then it was the Filipino Heritage Night at a recent Dodgers game, and the phone came in real handy, documenting a fun time with the girlfriend and some friends. I'm actually going to let a lot of those photos and videos speak for themselves here as I chime in from time to time to talk more deeply about the specs, a few features that I made sure to use during that time, and the phone at large. So sit back with a cup and enjoy. Hit the like button for more camera tests like this, and subscribe to my channel for more regarding the Pixels and beyond, because it's a super busy time and there's a lot to talk about. We can't neglect the return of XL letters in this year's phones. Pro is a given at this point, as the Google phones make sure to draw lines between their various smartphones, but XL is something that we haven't heard in a while. Wrapped around that entire screen is a form factor that is as chiseled as it is, well, hefty. And I wouldn't really blame anyone for saying that it looks and feels a lot like the most recent iPhones. I find that to be a good thing though, as all of the bar-style Pixels this year feel really nice to handle with the flat sides that also provide a little bit of shine. And besides, it's not like the Pixels don't have a design identity of their own, as is apparent with the huge camera optic visor up here that I think looks better now than ever. I was not opposed to the long bar that stretched out across the other Pixels, but this one stands out even more and reminds me of Cyclops from the X-Men. Whether a large form factor like this is comfortable will depend on the person, but going XL does translate to some benefits for normal usage. The battery in here is bigger for one at 5060 mAh, which is a significant amount more than the smaller siblings. One perhaps peculiar thing that Google did do with the XL though is give it faster charging than the 9 Pro at 37 watts. Spoiler alert, I actually did not need to rely on it too often during my day-to-day, which is a testament to this phone's battery life. And of course, we come back to the larger screen, an OLED that provides a nice big canvas for all kinds of media and gaming. It's actually with the Pixels that I'm making an effort to show off the vivid quality of the display, either with live wallpapers or with AI-generated scenes like this one here, even though I have it a little bit blurred using Blur Wall, I think is the name of the app. The distinct lack of bezel all around is really appreciated here, even though the camera cutout up top seems a little bit larger than I would have expected. Overall though, it's just a great screen here on the Pixel 9 Pro XL. Well, the tea's ready. Since I was just talking about the display on the Pixel 9 Pro XL, allow me to take this tea break to talk about this video's partner. If you're an avid TV watcher, the screen on the Pixel 9 Pro XL could be one of the best ways of getting your fix, and via using apps like YouTube TV. With over 100 channels, all easily navigated both on mobile and on desktop, it's a great way of staying current with your shows or have some classics playing in the background. Now, they did reach out and wanted to work together for a promotion of YouTube TV, and by using the links that I have in the description and in the pinned comment below, I would get some commission while you get a great deal. So, thanks to YouTube for providing me with a code to try out YouTube TV. Meanwhile, you may get up to a 3-week free trial of YouTube TV plus a total of $72 off of your paid subscription. You do have to be a paid subscriber for 3 months in order to receive that full $72 discount, and the length of your free trial will be on the YouTube TV base plan details page before you check out, so make sure you read that carefully because some terms apply. Also, this is only for new users only. You get access to over 100 live channels, unlimited DVR space, on-demand content, and room for up to 6 individual accounts. Hitting those links during this affiliate partnership that I have with YouTube TV is a great way of supporting my channel, so please do consider it, especially if you have never used YouTube TV before. Thanks again to YouTube for partnering with me on this video. Okay. Teed up. Let's go. Okay, let's get to the real meat of this thing. The Pixel 9 Pro XL really goes pro with a high-powered triple camera setup in this back visor. You get a 50 megapixel main camera, a 48 megapixel ultra-wide, and a 48 megapixel telephoto that jumps out at 5 times optical zoom. Even the front-facing camera sports a high megapixel count at 42 megapixels, and it's actually plenty wide with this 0.7 right here to be able to get a few people in the frame. 4K video recording is available all throughout, and then of course there are the software-based enhancements that really define the experience of a Pixel. There's a lot of features that Google threw in here on this camera, but I'm approaching things in this video based upon what I actually needed at that moment. As someone who kind of understands framing and has the patience to wait for the right shot to occur, I don't find myself using things like the Magic Editor a whole lot to literally reimagine photos into something that literally wasn't there in the first place. I never really found myself needing to use most of those features in my daily use of the phone, and I would venture to say that most general users of this phone might feel the same.
I do very much enjoy the camera interface. Last year it took some getting used to, but now I'm really getting around to quite well. The photo modes and the video modes are all segmented in their own areas, so you're not just going to be scrolling on this bottom part trying to find the one thing you want to do. If something that you want to do is related to video or to motion, it's all going to be down here. If you want to do something like a portrait or anything that is still, it's going to be under the photo modes. It is pretty intuitive. Alongside the various manual controls that we have down here, which I'm definitely going to be using a little bit more, especially to bring down the shadow so that the HDR doesn't quite blow out all of my photos. Now here is a perfect example with the bright sun that we have out here. Thankfully it's not super hot outside. There's this lovely bench that's right in front of me underneath the shadow of a tree. Now if I bring this up here, I'm gonna go ahead and just take this one photo right here, maybe do a 2x just to get a slightly more dramatic shot. I'm also going to go into the interface here and bring down the shadows even more so that we can preserve some of the darker areas and even make it seem a bit more dramatic. Now this is something that I could obviously do in post in the Photos app, but it's nice to be able to do all of that here using the manual controls.
Unfortunately, these same features, or rather controls, are not really afforded to the video side of things. I wish we could change up things like the shutter speed, ISO, and the manual focus in video as well. And I wish this was a thing because I wish that in video, the autofocusing wasn't always looking for a face. Maybe the ability to set a center zone for autofocus could be added later on, but that's just my suggestion. There were times when I was trying to get B-roll of, let's say, a product like the other Pixel 9 Pro, and when someone walked by, the face detection always focused over to that side and just ruined my shot. All that being said, the features that mattered most to me were a little bit simpler but still quite effective. Stabilization is a great example.
Now, I think that Pixels have some pretty great stabilization. That being said, when you move side to side, as you can see here, it does feel like the software or the hardware is trying to compensate a little bit too much once you actually move around. The stabilization when it comes to the Pixels tends to be when you're just sort of still, or maybe at the very least you're not panning a whole lot. It's at that point that I would actually recommends that you use the cinematic pan, which uses a 60 frame per second video slowed down in order to achieve a much smoother look than what you might be seeing here. Now the video boost, if we take a look at the potentially 8K or just in general boosted video that results after the video is uploaded to Google Photos and backed up, that stabilization might look a little bit different. So here's a look at that just to see what you might be getting between the two features.
Set as a toggle up here in the video settings menu, the video boost can bring videos up to 8K resolution if you so want that, or it can just enhance the photos you're taking at the other resolutions by uploading the clip to Google Photos Cloud where all of the magic happens. This is also the way that Google makes night side video happen. The results are certainly an improvement objectively, though the super HDR look that can happen sometimes might not be what you always want. But that's the nature of software enhancement, as we've seen for years now in how Pixels process photos. Also, one thing you'll notice is that when the video boost is on, you no longer have access to the ultra-wide camera. Zoom seems to be one of the big things that video boost wants to focus on, and that makes sense because one big feature here is Zoom Enhance. Zoom Enhance was a really interesting feature that made perfect sense to use from our seats at the Dodger game. For photos, it's a matter of getting into the Photos app and then selecting the feature as one of the many things you can do to enhance or edit that photo, after which time you'll either just enhance a currently zoomed in shot, or you can crop in even more and just see what the software can do. But for video, it's all about video boost, and you can zoom as far as 20 times. Video boost in all scenarios takes some time for uploading, processing, and then downloading that video back down again, so a good internet connection is always needed. There might be times when you have to wait for your results later when mobile internet is less crowded, like it was at the Dodger game, or you just use the Wi-Fi that might be available. That all being said, I was quite impressed with the result in some of these clips. Again, it's an objectively positive improvement, even if it's not something I would always use in a professional or, let's say, less than casual social media setting. But the last feature I wanted to talk about in this video at least is Add Me, which is something that you might have seen already in my Pixel 9 base model video. I think it's a great idea that I think will benefit a lot of people going out with friends, family, or significant others to capture some memories that wouldn't be easy to get otherwise. Maybe introverts might be happy that they don't have to ask a stranger to take their pictures anymore, for example. But take a look at this. It is really important to remember that Add Me is still listed as a preview mode here because it's definitely got its quirks. Do you remember what I said before, that Pixel cameras seem to be all about the faces? Well, it's super important for Add Me to work properly. The problem is when you have a ton of people in the frame, or in the background, as we clearly did during the Dodgers game. The camera kept locking on bodies or faces that weren't ours, and the AR scene would simply move based on those people, and sometimes it would just float away. Tapping the subject or simply taking the picture anyway and hoping for the best, it actually didn't really help. So clearly Add Me works best when it's just you and your group or whoever else in the mix, and I kind of get that. Or as we learned right after something like 15 minutes of trying to figure out why Add Me was working this way in the crowded scenario, sometimes you just can't beat a good old selfie, or in this case, an ultra wide angle rear camera selfie.
One of the reasons why you may want a Pixel is because you know you are supported no matter what the scenario might give you. In this case, doing like selfies by myself and trying to get my own shots done using little tools like this. At the very least, I know that when I use the front-facing camera, because I need to see myself to frame myself, at the very least, I know that the processing will definitely help me out there. Pixels are one of the only phones that I know, if I set it up, use the front-facing camera, which usually is not the best camera on a lot of smartphones, I know I'm going to get some support to make sure the photo looks as good as it possibly can. So you get the photo done, and you'll feel pretty confident that the pictures will look quite good.
Now more than ever, Google is working to make the Pixels powerful camera companions that automate or intelligently streamline a lot of processes picture takers and video makers might have otherwise done manually, because that's what a smartphone should try to do. I haven't even talked about all of the AI Gemini stuff yet on these phones, as I'm going to hold off on talking about that until my Pixel 9 Pro video, the smaller one. On the camera front, I have it kind of covered on both phones by talking about the XL. And on the camera front, there's still a ton of fun to be had, both in and out of the generative AI conversation. And I think that results in a smartphone camera that benefits pretty much anyone. See, the updates to the hardware are still appreciated, as are the straight-up modes and control provided in the camera app. It's after the act of shooting that you can then decide how much trickery, or magic as Google wants to call it, you actually want to engage in. And whether the execution throughout any part of the process works for you will dictate if it's time to really go in on Google's vision this year. So let me know what you thought of everything you saw coming out of this phone in this video, and let me know if your experience with the Pixels has been good, both in and out of the cameras. If you got one for yourself, let me know your experience in the comments below. Thanks again to YouTube TV for partnering with me on this video, and to try out the service for yourself with a great deal in order to do so, check the links in the description and in the pinned comment downstairs. But with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and call it on this one. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again today. Please take care of yourselves and each other, and enjoy your tea, everybody.